You know what I just realized? Avengers Doomsday is only a year away, and the hype around it is nowhere near the level of hype for Infinity War or Endgame. And that got me thinking, what is wrong with Marvel? Well, I have a few thoughts, rambles, if you will, and if you're interested, stick around and be sure to like and subscribe, and you know how this works. All right, so here's the thing: Marvel was the top dog, big dog for so long that naturally everyone wanted a shot at taking it down. It's the very classic story of when you're on top, people love to root for your downfall. So and well, obviously, right now, hating on Marvel, it gets clicks. Pretty simple. And once you achieve the impossible, like with Marvel did with Infinity War and Endgame, anything less than perfection seems like a failure. But is that really fair? I mean, obviously Marvel wanted to build off that hype, but also I do think that even before anything got messed up, they really had the plan to kind of calm it down and then to start building it up again instead of just going hard, you know. And whatever the plans after Endgame was that they had in place ultimately didn't even matter because around the 2020s, Marvel was faced with their biggest villain yet, the pandemic. The entire industry, hell, the whole world took a hit and everybody was miserable, and some still are. But Marvel found itself in a particularly tough spot. They were Disney's money cow. They were making money with their projects, and Disney obviously during this hard time needed money. And all but because of the pandemic, everything got delayed, reshuffled, and shuffled again, and rushed to fit the narrative, forcibly fit the narrative sometimes, and that's just a recipe for disaster. Yeah, we all saw that projects felt rushed, and some stories felt messy, and the magic of the MCU, it started fading. And that's not even considering the pressure from Disney to prioritize these Disney Plus shows, because, well, like I mentioned, they needed money. It was tough times, so big companies during tough times, they need money. So they kind of pushed for these Disney Plus shows, regardless if they were ready. And you know, typically these shows, which you know for Marvel was a new thing. They haven't done shows that much. Like they were making movies, pretty much only movies. So to jump from movies to TV shows, it was a bit of a learning curve, and all that. But also the people, typically the crew working tirelessly day in and day out, the writers, directors, some actors, all the stunt performers, editing staff, and the visual effects teams, who are the only ones who are truly hands-on and know what's going on in the story. And then like Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios, undoubtedly he also had a very solid understanding of the projects and where the story needed to go. But even he can't foresee everything, oversee everything, and even beyond him, there are individuals, people behind him who are focused purely on the revenue potential for these projects, with very little regard for the story. Ultimately, it doesn't matter if there's very talented people working on the show, because if there's instructions coming from the top to just get this working, come on, pump this out, the story gets messy and doesn't work. And Marvel took the first year off in its entirety in 2020s, and then all these stories that some were already being filmed and like created before the pandemic and were kind of rushed and like just scrambled together on the spot, and they were just pushed out the door hoping they could stick because they needed to go out, so they went out, and well, we all kind of saw how that went. And yeah, my point is here that the studio people don't know what they're doing. Also, Marvel has had some misses back in the golden days of Marvel, you could say. So it's nothing too new to see some projects that are not, end game level or whatever. But also then when you're pumping out this much content, the misses feel way more obvious. So it's not just one small, little underrated movie a year. This time it was kind of a few rushed shows and movies that had some good things going for it, but yeah, like I said, they kind of just got rushed to completion and not given too much thought after, well, the world went to shit, But man, Marvel used to feel special. Every year a new movie was like an event. Now that it's been like a never-ending conveyor belt of content, like shows, movies, TV shows, spin-offs, now animated series. Yeah, it can be a little too much for general audiences, and there's very little time for excitement to build because we're already on to the next thing, And even with the critics, like reviews back in the golden days of Marvel, it felt that just having Marvel Studios in the title, it meant some bonus points. But now, critics hear the word reshoots, and that movie is guaranteed to be a failure. Bruh. A rotten piece of media. And also during the early 2020s, Twitter found Marvel, and unfortunately the internet thrives on negativity, so it's easier and more profitable to make a Marvel is dead video than to put together a thoughtful critique or, God forbid, praising something good that Marvel has made. Like, sure, Marvel has had its problems, but also not everything they now put out is trash. It annoys me, and I know for a fact there is some sad sack of shit watching this and writing a negative comment along the lines of Marvel has been over for years. They should just stop making movies. No one cares. They went woke SMH, whatever that means. Silence my hose, shaking my hamburger, show me the honey. So much hate. And that's pretty good. Like, these motherfuckers act like they're some kind of authority on entertainment. Apparently it's easier to hate than to appreciate something, right? So with that, let's talk about the CGI. Because man, people love to shit on Marvel CGI. And sure, there are some rough shots here and there, which is nothing new that has happened since the creation of CGI. Like, probably one of the more infamous CGI mistakes, I guess people keep saying, is MODOK. The CGI with MODOK wasn't the problem, it was the design of the thing. It looked a little weird and it was in this rough kind of uncanny valley. Do I need to explain what uncanny valley is? Do you know what that is? Anyway, and also the writing around the character was a little off and he made some, well, lack of a better term, cringe lines like, well, I think you all know what I'm talking about. But all these things that didn't really match perfectly with the character made people just say, boo, CGI, boo. But here's something interesting. If you actually compare the amounts of CGI shots in Phase 4 to Phase 3, Phase 4 has better CGI. I mean, to be fair, there are more projects in Phase 4 alone than in the first 3 phases, but my point stands. There are more and better CGI now. It's just that people call out the CGI more. Even though CGI and like visual effects, they are meant to enhance the story and in general shouldn't be taken out of context. If you take a single frame out of context, it's a disservice to the hard work these visual effects companies do for Marvel to make the scene more smooth. There are frames within it that have to be kind of weird and stretched, like to make the overall motion and the experience of the scene to stand out. So, like I said, it's a disservice to the hard work these visual effects companies do for Marvel, and that's not only Marvel. Like CGI is complained about in any movie nowadays, and but also when movies, studio company movies, or just normal like indie movies or whatever, when they don't use CGI, why does nobody praise them for that? Like why do you complain? Why do people complain about the usage of CGI so much? But when movies, for example, don't use CGI, they don't even care. It's like that doesn't matter to them anymore. Like the thing you're so much complaining over is being changed, and you still don't care about that. But anyway, I'm not just defending Marvel, I'm asking why do we only highlight the bad? Why don't we also appreciate the good? I mean, just look at these few shots from Phase 4 and 5. They're gorgeous, but people don't call them out because the narrative going around the internet is Marvel is dead, boo! Also credit to Jam Jam Gaga on Reddit for pointing this out. I found this as I was researching the video. And also, honestly, the people who keep pushing this narrative that Marvel is dead are just adding this unnecessary pressure upon the honest, respected, hard-working people in the industry who get a job on these new Marvel projects, and then out of the blue they are suddenly expected to save Marvel. Like, that's unfair for these people. Another thing that really annoys me about the negativity around the MCU, and again, generally everywhere nowadays, is that if you don't love it or it's not for you, why is your next instinct to go online and start throwing a temper tantrum about how this movie or show sucks? No, you just don't like it. And that's fine. We all have different tastes, life experiences, biases, and beliefs or whatever. Just move on. Nobody's forcing you to love it. Accept it as it is and just move on. Like, why is it that if someone makes a video praising something, why are they expected to give like this detailed justification for why they enjoy it? Yet someone can make a hate-filled rage bait Twitter post and everyone just nods along without question. Very often these posts are based on like a very out of context frame from like a CGI shot, and or like just a out of context 5-second clip from a 2-hour movie. Like, this kind of discourse makes it exhausting to just enjoy things without feeling like you have to defend your opinions. Why can't we just simply appreciate something for what it's for? Yeah, anyway, I probably annoyed a few people. If you got annoyed at this video, grow up. So anyway, to all the haters out there, I just wanna say, fuck you, but I'm still gonna enjoy it.